Good morning and happy Sunday to you all. I hope you all had a wonderful week. In the last video, y'all saw that I integrated a real database. It's not done. I still have to deal with auth and all those types of things, but we now have a real database integrated into the app. And in this video, we made a huge amount of progress, and I'm super excited to share it with you all. And we may or may not have made a dramatic pivot in the app, but I think it's going to lead to a significantly better user experience. Stay tuned. I'll show you all of that in this video. But we first need to get caffeinated, so we're going to go meet up with some friends at one of my new favorite coffee shops, get some lunch, get some coffee. Let's hit the road. Let's get the code. What are you all building today? Pull up a seat, get a fun drink, and let's crack on with the video. All right, I got to the coffee shop a couple minutes early, just waiting on my friends. It's raining outside, so your boy's not going to go out there quite yet. But I figured this was a perfect opportunity to sit down and talk to you all about this pivot. And I hope y'all can resonate with this past this, little app that I'm making, whether it's for your career, for your life, for any projects that you're building, because it is, I think, an important skill, an important aspect of whatever we're doing that I think can add a lot of value if you truly hear this message and take it for what it is. A few videos ago, I talked about how when you're stuck in the mud, you just need to pick something and move on. And in a way, call that a pivot, I suppose, but it's not the pivot that I'm after this video. So what I mean is a couple videos ago, I was stuck on how I wanted this table view of my inventory data to look and how it was such a critical piece of the app. And I really kind of just, like I said, stuck myself in the mud, and I went probably over a week with making zero progress because I needed this design to be perfect. And the reality is, it wasn't perfect. And I picked something, and I'm pivoting on exactly that. So if you missed that video, click the card up there. I think it is a good video and a good message to hear. But one of the screens that was absolutely critical, I was calling the workshop. And the workshop consisted of projects, your inventory, and then your events. Hindsight, I don't know why I put events in there. I think that's just a space I could shove it. Didn't really make sense, so we already ripped that one out. But then two, I originally was going to have this like Kanban type board, and then beneath that, the table of all your inventory. And the intent was so that you could have one search bar and search across both. Well, I think that actually detracted away from the real design. Projects and your inventory are two main critical key components. And I don't know why I was trying to smush them together, but I couldn't tell that it was such a bad idea until I made that decision from the previous video to just stick with the table. And I think it's really easy to start thinking like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm making the move. Like, this is the right decision. You walk into the room and you already know the answer type ordeal. And especially as software engineers, I think we tend to kind of lean that way more often than not. Just overconfidence. This is what I want. This is how it needs to be. This is how it should work. All of those types of things. And I'm telling you to learn to pivot. And when I say pivot, I mean, I actually split the workshop up into two different screens. Now projects and inventory are two separate tabs in the app, and the toolbox, which was one of my previous tabs, is now up in the header. And I think this is actually going to be a great pivot. I think the user experience of those two screens is going to be a night and day difference. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't make the decision before and be totally okay with the no ego approach of saying, yeah, I made the wrong decision. So I don't think it's a failure, and I know some people do, and I'm here to tell you that it is totally cool to pivot. It is a superpower to pivot and to pivot often. So don't be afraid to make decisions, and don't be afraid to make wrong decisions and then go and make more decisions. And that's the gist of it, is learn to pivot, learn to stay agile. And I hate to throw that word because, what is agile these days? But continue to have fun, continue to stay light on your feet, and just make some decisions. Go and try it out. It might be the right decision. Cool, move on, great day. If it's the wrong decision, that's also fine. There's no failures. It is only a failure when you stop working and you put your pencil down. So when you're met with those decisions, you're like, oh, bad idea? Cool. Mark it as a bad idea, pivot to a new idea, and just get moving again. So that is what we're doing. The workshop has been split up into two different screens, the project screens and the inventory. I'll show you the Kanban board here next. I'll show you some of the thoughts and ideas in the inventory. I am so glad to scratch what I thought was the absolute most perfect idea. And, it just wasn't. And I think this is going to result in a better UX. I think it is going to be far easier actually to code and integrate, and especially, while we're in this MVP stage, we just need to ship. So we got to get a product out, get it into some of my beta and test users. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who you are, and just get moving again. So it is really cool to be on this journey because I'm learning more about myself and maybe some of my triggers and what causes me to, get stuck on certain parts of this project and what really allows me to excel. And I think being overly open to quote unquote failures and just saying, oh, that wasn't it, and pivoting to something new, like I said, it's going to be an absolute superpower for your engineering career, your life at home, and any other projects or business that you are trying to make. So stay light on your feet, make a move, assess if it was the right move or the wrong move, and just pivot. But it looks like my friends are just now pulling up, so let's get in there, check out this place, grab some lunch, grab a coffee, and then I want to show you the new screens that I just talked about, the projects in the inventory. So without further ado, let's go get caffeinated. All right, so it has been many hours later, but we're finally home. Lunch was amazing, had a fantastic caprese sandwich, had a fantastic caramel cappuccino, but let's start diving into these screens, and I'm super excited to start showing you some of this progress. And you start finishing certain things, finishing, phase 1 MVP, finishing certain things, and you just get super excited to start building more. So that is the stage we're currently in right now. So just to start diving in here, as you can see on the screen, I have moved the avatar up from the top right over to the top left. Right now, if you click it, it just brings you to, a fake profile page. You can log out. This will eventually use Supabase auth here, and once you log in, you're back on your dashboard. So if you remember from previous videos, it used to be where the workshop was this tab right down here, and then the toolbox was this last tab over here. So the toolbox has been moved up here. Doesn't do anything yet. If you click it, I think I register a log or something, but it doesn't do anything yet. Now, two very exciting screens. The workshop has been split apart. Events will soon only exist on the dashboard. And instead of this card view that currently is here, it'll eventually be a calendar, maybe circles or some kind of indicator on when, an event is created. So you will create events from the dashboard. And I think having your events on the dashboard genuinely makes the most sense, because after you create the little event, you're not going to go back and do anything with it. So I think having it just on the dashboard, maybe part of your profile if it really needed to be somewhere else, but at least on the dashboard, makes a whole lot of sense to me. Y'all remember from a few videos ago that I was super keen on this Kanban style board because that is how I was managing my projects, to do, in progress, and done. Super simple. But on mobile, Kanban is not super friendly, and it just takes a whole lot of real estate. It means you have to scroll horizontally through your list. So here's what I come up with. Instead of a horizontally scrolling Kanban board, I am using segmented controls with our 3 states, and to easily identify, given your time range, which ones, how many cards are in that state. I'm using a parenthetical past, the to do, in progress, blah, 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 to indicate how many items are within that state. So from this view, I know without having to flip to the quote unquote done tab that I have 2 done. So it is really great though. It is super simple. It is just filtering out on the status of the ticket and displaying them correctly based off your segmented control. I love that. And I think using this is going to be super friendly, still give you that organized Kanban flow style without the headache of having to deal with horizontal scrolls and things like that. Genuinely, I was not that person where I was trying to look at everything all at once. I am very happy to say, oh, here's the couple of things I have to do. Here's the things I need to finish up in progress. I don't need to see both to do and in progress at the same time. If I had to switch through multiple screens or something, maybe that would get annoying. But the fact that it is just on single segment control, I think this is going to be super easy without cluttering the UI. And like I said, I'm actually super, super excited about this. Now I just need to work in what is the friendly way of transitioning a card through the different states. Obviously it needs to go to different states. Maybe it needs to get archived, all of those types of things. I still need to work out how and when and where those things start to come up. Now, I don't know if I'll just hide it under the ellipse. For now, it's just a console log, but I'm thinking maybe I'll just put it under the ellipse so that the user could click the ellipse and, transition to the next state. I'm also thinking about probably, there's quite a lot of white space still left on this card. I might have, maybe down here, some kind of arrow indicator or something. Maybe I'll do a swipe feature. I don't know yet. I'm throwing around a bunch of ideas. If y'all have any cool ideas, please let me know down in the comments below. I am super interested to know what you think. Do you love this design? Do you hate this design? Is there something better I should be doing? But I am pretty stoked about this now. You know, flat list, segmented control, filtering the data in the flat list based off of the status of the ticket. It works really well. You know, right now, if I click this plus button, it just generates a random project. So you'll see one of these numbers change. So it looks like the in progress changed and made a new in progress ticket. So super cool, super fun. I think the users are going to enjoy this feature. I know I would enjoy using this feature, so I think it's super rad. But let's move on now to the inventory. In the inventory screen, there's not a whole lot going on right now. It is your typical search bar, a new button to create something new, and then this button is a barcode scanner. So not for MVP, but I am hopeful one day in the future here that I will be able to leverage this barcode scanner to say scan the tag at Home Depot and add the 2x4 or whatever the hell it is that you're trying to buy directly to your inventory because you scanned the barcode. Think MyFitnessPal, but for woodworkers, and I think that'd be super badass. Now, the idea here is you're gonna have some users that are going to search directly for a product. Hypothetically, let's just say the scenario is I would like to look at all my walnut products. So I would come into the search bar, I would type in walnut, and all of my results across all categories that contain a category or a name or something. I have to decide which fields allow a full text search, but a full text search based on anything containing walnut. Past that, now let's say, oh, I actually only want my walnut stain. Well, the idea is through these chips over here, I would come and click my finishes, and that would apply additional filtering on top of walnut. So now I'm only getting finishes related to walnut. And obviously there's no data here and there's nothing being rendered, but this is where I would have cards or something like that come back down, very similar to projects actually, and just allow the user to very quickly reduce a lot of data based off of the categories and or search terms, things like that. And the way that I want to do it is so that you can click multiple of these. So in this example, what would be returned is walnut, that is lumber, a finish, or any walnut low stock items. So the search term will bring back all of the data, and then the chips will just apply filtering on top of that. So multiple chips bring back multiple different types of things. And I think, like I said, I think that's super cool. I think it's going to be super useful for the user. I'm hoping that it will be intuitive. I'm sure I'll have to have some kind of onboarding or maybe make this more intuitive. Maybe put like a little word like quick filters. Actually, I love that. Let's do that. So you will see in the next video that I'm going to put quick filters right above these little chips so that users know exactly what they are. So I'm super excited about this new design. I think it's going to add a lot of richness to the application. I don't think we lost a whole lot for moving the toolbox up to the header. I think the toolbox is going to be one of those really useful tools, but not an all the time tool. It's going to be, oh, I need to look up this conversion. Let me go to my toolbox, pick out the chart, something like that. It's not going to be happening all the time. Whereas looking at your finances or your projects or your inventory is going to be happening all the time. So I'm very glad that I made this split. I'm super glad that I trusted myself to make this pivot and to say, all right, I had a really good idea before. Here's a better idea. Left the ego at the door, made the pivot, and I'm so much happier. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And with that, I will see you next week. Peace.